practice of appeasing Petas and departed with the donations and then left. The rich man's wife and his relatives too followed his example. Thus they gave great gifts for a month. Then King Pasendi of Kosala, hearing this, also presented bounteous gifts to the assembly. When the citizens saw this, they in turn did as the king for a whole month practiced great giving, a great generosity which has its origin in the humble biscuit doll. Petas outside the walls. While the teacher was living at Rajagaha, he told this story. 92 kappas ago there was a city called Kasi. In that place King Jayasena was reigning. His queen was called Sirima. Their son Phussa attained supreme enlightenment. Now King Jayasena displayed pride, thinking, since my son, who is born as a Buddha, has made a great renunciation, I alone have the Buddha, I alone have the Dhamma, I alone have the Sangha. All the time he was alone in attendance upon him and gave no opportunity to others. The three younger brothers of the Phussa Buddha, born of a different mother, thought the Buddhas indeed are born for the benefit of the whole world, not for the sake of just one person. Now our father gives no opportunity to others. How can we serve the Lord Buddha and his Sangha? Come along, let us perform some strategy. So they caused a disturbance, as it were, on the borderland. Then the king, when he heard about this disturbance, sent forth these three sons to pacify the border. They did so, and upon their return, the king in his pleasure granted them a boon, saying, take whatever you wish. They said, we wish to serve the Lord Buddha. The king, denying this, said, take something else. They replied, we do not care for anything else, please let us serve him at least for 7 years. The king said no. Then they asked for 6 years, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2 years, then 1 year, still the king said no. Then they asked for 7 months, then 6 months, 5 months, 4 months. Finally the king agreed for 3 months and said, well, you can take your choice. They approached the Lord Buddha and said, Reverend Sir, we wish to serve the Lord for 3 months. Let the Lord consent to spend with us for 3 months the retreat of the rainy season. The Lord Buddha agreed. The 3 sons personally sent a written message to the man appointed over the province, saying, during these 3 months we must serve the Blessed One. Beginning with a monastery. Provide all needs. Then they served with due honor the Lord Buddha and the order of the monks. When they, as rulers of the province, had dedicated the monastery, they observed the retreat of the rainy season. One of them, a royal treasurer, the son of a householder, a follower, together with his wife, found faith. He duly gave a donation to the order of the monks whose head was the Buddha. The man was set over the province followed his example and with 11,000 people gave gifts with all due honor. On that occasion some people were offended in heart, having hindered contributions, they themselves ate the gifts and burnt down the dining hall with fire. After the king's sons with their attendants had honored the Lord Buddha and gave him farewell, they went directly to their father. Upon his return the Lord Buddha attained nirvana. The king's sons and the royal treasurer and those who served, in due course of time, died and were reborn in heaven, but the people who were offended in heart were reborn in hell. Thus 91 kappas passed by, as these 2 states of persons were reborn respectively from heaven to heaven and from hell to hell. Then in that one auspicious cycle, at the time of Lord Kassapa, the people who offended were reborn among the Petas. At that time, people themselves would give a gift for the benefit of their Peta ancestors and say, let this be for our relatives. Those Petas received happiness. Then these Petas too noticed this, and having approached Kassapa, asked him, how now, Reverend Sir, can we too attain such a bliss? The Lord replied, at this time, you cannot attain it, but in time to come, there will be a universal Buddha named Gautama. In the time of that Lord Buddha, there will be a king named Bimbisara, who will be a kinsman unto you after a cycle is over. He will give a gift to the Buddha and ascribe its credit to you. Then you will attain. Now when this was spoken, the Petas thought as if it was said, tomorrow you shall receive. Then after this Buddha interval had passed, Lord Buddha was born in the world. The 3 princes too with 1,000 men passed from the world of Devas and were reborn in the kingdom of Magadha in Brahmin families. In course of time, having given up worldly life, the three became ascetics with matted hair, stayed at Jayasena. The man set over the province became King Bimbisara. The royal treasurer, the son of the householder, became a rich man called Visakha. His wife became daughter of a rich man and was known as Damadina. But rest of the people became attendants of the king. Now Buddha came to the world and attained enlightenment. Then after 7 weeks came to Benares and there started rolling the wheel of Dhamma. He instructed the 3 ascetics, after he had begun with a group of 5, and obtained as many as 1,000 followers. Then he proceeded to Rajagaha and established King Bimbisara in the fruits of the first awakening together with 11 myriads of Brahmin and laymen dwelling in Anga and Magadha. Then the king invited Buddha and his many followers the next day for a donation as meal. The Buddha and his followers were led to the king's place by Sakka, the Lord of Heavens, who assumed the form of a human and sang praises of Lord Buddha. The Petas surrounded the house thinking now the king will give donation for our credit. As the king gave donation, he thought only where now, I wonder, may the Lord Buddha be staying? Accordingly he did not give credit of the donation to anyone. Thus, since the Petas, who had not received a donation, were without hope, they uttered during the night dreadful outcry at the king's residence. The agitated king told the Lord Buddha, at daybreak, of what had occurred and asked, did you hear a noise like that? Reverend Sir, I wonder now what may happen to me. Lord Buddha replied, do not fear, great king. No evil will come to you, but prosperity will come your way. These are your people reborn among the Petas. For 1 Buddha interval they have been wandering about, yearning just for this. He will bestow upon the Buddha a donation and transfer the credit to us in merit. Yesterday when you presented the donation, you made no transfer of the credit. Consequently they have lost hope and uttered outcry. The king said, how now, Reverend Sir, could they obtain what is given as a donation? Buddha said, indeed they can, great king. The king said then, Reverend Sir, let the Lord Buddha accept my invitation for tomorrow. I shall transfer to them the virtue of the donation. The Lord Buddha agreed. Then the king had the generous bounty prepared and had the time announced to the Lord Buddha, who came to the royal palace. The Petas came thinking, today we shall get something, and stood outside the walls and fences. The Lord Buddha then brought it about that every one of them became visible to the king. As the king gave water to wash in, he ascribed to them the merit with the words, let this be for my kinsman. Instantly there came into existence for the Petas, lotus pond full of lotuses and water lilies. They bathed and drank there, and alleviated of their sufferings from distress, fatigue, and thirst, they became gold-colored. The king handed out rice and gruel and solid and soft food and again transferred the merit of donation to Petas. Immediately the Petas received deva foods of which they joyfully ate. The king made a donation of clothes and dwellings and again transferred the merit of donation to Petas. There came into existence for them deva clothes, deva mansions, couches, covers and ornaments. The Lord Buddha so resolved that all this bliss of theirs should be manifest to the king, who, seeing this way, was very much pleased. Then the Lord Buddha, having eaten and being invited, in order to thank King Bimbisara, told the story of the Petas outside the walls. They stand outside the walls and at the open spaces and at the crossroads. They are standing at the doorposts, having gone to their house. Although abundant food and drink, hard and soft, are served, no one needs these beings because of their acts. They who are compassionate give their kinsmen at the proper time pure, excellent, suitable food and drink. Let this be for our kinsmen. Let the relatives be blessed. And these coming together there, the departed spirits of the kinsmen who have assembled greatly rejoice at the abundant food and drink, saying, long live our kinsmen through whom we receive. Piety has been shown to us, and givers are not without reward. For there is no ploughing there, nor is cowherding found there. Nor is there trading there as here, nor commerce with gold. With gifts from here, the Petas, the dead in the other world, maintain themselves, as water rained on a height flows down to low ground, even so the gift hence given supports the Petas. Just as full streams of water fill the ocean, even so the gift hence given supports the Petas. My kinsfolk and companions, each one gave to me, worked for me. May each one give donation to the Petas, remembering what was done in their past. For mere weeping or grief or any other lamentation is of no avail. All this is of no help to the departed person. Such a practice have the kinsmen. But indeed this gift which is given and well established in the Sangha serves with immediate effect, for a long time, for the benefit of the departed. Now this is the duty defined for kinsmen. To the Petas, moreover, high piety has been paid, and strength has been bestowed upon the monks. No little good has been done by you. At the end of the discourse, insight into Dhamma was received by 84,000 people whose understanding began, as it were, from the incident of rebirth in the realm of the Petas. Their hearts were stirred with praise. And they made sincere efforts. On the following day, the Lord Buddha taught to devas and men this same discourse of outside the walls. Thus for as long as 7 days there was such an acceptance of the faith to this Dhamma. The devourer of 5 children. While the teacher was staying at Savatthi, he told this story. In a village not far from Savatthi a certain landowner's wife was barren. His relatives said, "Let us get you another girl." He was unwilling out of affection for his wife. Then, when his wife heard of this, she urged her husband to marry again and not cut off his lineage. But when the new wife was with child, the barren wife, who was overcome by envy, satisfied with food and drink a certain person, and employed him to bring about abortion. The second wife told her mother, who summoned her relatives, and they spoke thus to the barren wife. "You have caused the death of her unborn child," she replied. "I am not guilty." The relatives said, "If you are not, take an oath." She took the oath, that if she was guilty, she would become a petty, naked and ugly in form, with ill-smelling and rotten odor from breath. Covered with flies, at daybreak she would give birth to 5 sons, but she devour all of them, and same in evening. Not long afterwards she died, and was reborn, not far from that same town, as an ill-favored petty. At that time, 8 elder monks who were spending the rainy season in the province and were going to Savatthi to see the teacher, came to the place in the forest supplied with shade and water, not far from this same village. Then the petty appeared to the elders, of whom one asked her, "You are naked and ugly in form. An ill-smelling and rotten odor you breathe out. You are all covered with flies. Now who are you that are standing here?" The petty: "I, venerable sir, am a petty, a wretched denizen of Yama's world. Since I had done a wicked deed, I went hence to Peta world. At daybreak I give birth to 5 sons, in the evening again to 5 others, all of whom I devour. Even these are not enough for me. My heart is scorched and smokes with hunger. I get no water to drink. Behold the misfortune come to me." When the elder had heard this, he asked her, "Now what wicked deed was done by body, speech, and mind? In retribution of what offense do you devour the flesh of your sons?" Then the petty told the elder what she had done. "The other wife of my husband was with child, and I planned evil against her. I myself with a corrupt intention caused the abortion of her unborn child. When it was 2 months old, blood flowed forth. Then her mother in anger brought her relatives to me. And she both administered an oath to me and had me reviled. I, even I, took the terrible oath falsely. May I eat the flesh of children if it was done by me. In consequence of both the deed of abortion and the lie, I devour the flesh of children, stained with the blood of the past." The elders, moved with compassion for her, went to the house of that landlord, and had him transfer to the petty the virtue of the almgift which he made to them. All at once the petty, freed from her misery, obtained great blessedness and showed herself during the night to her husband. Then the elders in due time came to Savatthi and told the matter to the Lord Buddha, who then taught them the Dhamma in that matter. The devourer of 7 children. While the teacher was staying at Savatthi, he told this story of a petty, naked and ugly in form and a devourer of 7 children. In a certain village,